Well, is everybody still asleep from the holiday? Yeah, I'm hearing this. Yeah.
Holidays?
Yeah.
I thought it was my birthday.
Oh, well, it could have been your birthday.
It was.
We all celebrated with you.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. So it was Shad's birthday yesterday, if anybody didn't know. Woo! We're all celebrating. Commissioner Dixon could not be here this morning. However, you have Cindy Stein, who is also a cheerleader for United Way. We're here to kick off the United Way campaign, and we're excited that Bob's going to lead the campaign this year, and I'll help him as he needs it, but he'll do great. I wanted to announce that the annual bake sale that the auditor puts on, and it's bake and goodie sale, so it's savory and sweet, is November 6th. November 6th. Is that a Monday? Okay, then that's it, November 6th. So we'll send out a flyer, we'll send out an email to everybody so you can stop by during your lunch hour and get some either goodies or savory treats and help United Way. So this morning we have Janelle Mitchell. She's from United Way, and she's going to kick this campaign off for us. So let's give her a big hand.
I don't always get pom-poms in the morning, so I love that. Morning, you guys. Nice chilly morning this morning, wasn't it? Nice, cool, and crisp. Glad to be here. Share with you a little bit about maybe some new changes that you didn't know of that had occurred in United Way in the last couple of years. And like Cindy talked about, Bob's going to be our main cheerleader for this group for you guys. And I'm excited to walk with him through that and kind of get this campaign rolling. So I think we're going to start it on the 16th. So you'll probably be hearing some more things about that. How many of you think that you know exactly what United Way does in our community? Not really? Yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, I was kind of like that too before I started working there. So, you know, I think I've always heard of United Way, but I wasn't exactly sure exactly what they were doing in the community. And honestly, what made them different from the nonprofits that they were funding grant money to. So we really unite people, resources, and we want to enhance lives in the Ozarks. We do that through a couple different ways. And this is a video you'll hear a little bit more about.
In our local community, uniting people, resources, and ideas to enhance lives in the Ozarks. We're here, building connections between neighbors and empowering everyone to make a positive difference. We are here, encouraging bright futures, championing our community's children, and opening doors to help them reach their full potential. We are here, providing the essential connections youth need to achieve milestones in development, education, and health. We are here, offering hope for a better tomorrow, providing pathways out of poverty through stable housing, workforce training, and financial literacy. And whenever critical needs arise in the Ozarks, United Way has been here for over 90 years, bringing our community together to lend a helping hand. We are here, embracing differences and celebrating every person's unique strengths. Recognizing we're better together, we are fostering a sense of belonging here, where we all live, work, and play. United, we can make a difference right here.
Here for bright futures.
Here for a better tomorrow.
So that last picture of all of those people yelling was at this year's United Way Day of Caring. And we had about 1,300 people participate this year. Last year we had around 900. So definitely seeing an uptick in people wanting to get out and participate in in-person events. So very excited about that. Now, when I was talking about how we are different from the nonprofits that we're actually serving, we take a look at the community at a higher view. The nonprofits that we are serving, they are the ones who are actually getting people coming through their door, providing direct resources. Think, CASA, Boys and Girls Club. Those people are coming through the door, getting those resources right away. We are actually taking a look at what the community needs. We look at our focus report and we see what nonprofits are doing in the community, if there's any duplication of services. And we want to focus on the things that our community needs in two different areas, which is championing children and providing pathways out of poverty. Previously, United Way kind of funded a lot of different things, and there really wasn't a focus area. So these are the two focus areas now that we are focusing on. And those nonprofits that we provide funding to have to fall in one of these areas and the programs that are getting funded. Championing children, exactly like it sounds like, making sure children are able to reach their full potential, making sure they have access to everything that they need. Pathways out of poverty, I kind of like to think of it as reaching people before they hit the food line, making sure they have access to livable wages, workforce development, things like that. So we provide funding for 21 programs at 14 different nonprofit agencies, and we'll talk a little bit about those specific agencies here in a little bit. So as you can see, we may provide funding at more than one program at a specific nonprofit agency. We also kind of are the gateway for some funding for the Cancer Fund and Veterans Fund. So if you have a heart for either of those two, you can designate your funds to go towards that. We also have an emergency food and shelter program, and AFL-CIO community services. Betsy Fogel, who is a House of Representatives for our area, she actually, we hired her part-time. So while she's not in the House, she works for us to help us work with our labor union groups that we have significant relationships with. These are all the counties that we serve in. A lot of people obviously would come to Springfield, Greene County area to receive a bulk of these services, but we also know a lot of people live outside of Greene County too. So we do serve outside of Greene County. This is just a long-winded way to say, I don't get to choose where where the money actually gets funded. Nobody in the United Way office gets to choose that. So we actually choose about 60 donor-led committee members every 2 years for our grant funding process. And they're the ones who come in and they go over all of those grant applications that the nonprofits submit. We just finished year one of this last grant cycle, so we'll have another full year to go. So next year in 2024, those grant applications then will be going out to a whole new set of nonprofits and the ones that have applied in the past as well, as long as they're focusing on championing children and providing pathways out of poverty. I think we've increased it to, there's probably close to 75 or 80 nonprofits that will be an invitation to submit a grant this time. And so very exciting to see who all is doing what programming here with those two focus areas. But those donors, donor committee, we are always looking for volunteers for that as well. They're the ones who sit in on this panel and decide where that funding goes. And the funding process now is a little different as well. So it's split up into a 60-30-10. 60% of the funding goes into upstream programs that is looking at like the root causes of social issues. So when we were talking about keeping people out of the food pantry a while ago, these kind of issues. We understand it's a long-term play, but if we're putting more money, so more than 50% of our funding going up towards the upstream causes, hopefully, not in a year, maybe not even in 2 years, but we should see more people not needing those access to direct services on the daily, like a crisis situation, because they are receiving the resources for the upstream. 30% though is going to go into the safety net programs. We're always going to provide food, housing, things like that. United Way is known for. 10% of it is going into innovative programs, which is also new. We're teaching nonprofits to be innovative. We want them to look outside of the box of the problems that are happening here in our community and how they can fix that. One program that we're funding right now currently is Breast Cancer Foundation of the Ozarks. If you are age 35 and younger and you have a family history of breast cancer, you need to get a mammogram early for early detection. Insurance doesn't cover that currently. So we are providing funding for that program. So super excited about that. So here's our nonprofit partners. Here are the 14 nonprofit partners. The programs that we are actually providing funding for is underneath in the blue. So you can see there's some of them have multiple programs. Community partnership is a priority partner. Community partnership was actually born out of United Way of the Ozarks so many years ago. So again, talking about designating your funding, you're in charge of your dollars. So if you decide to donate through the United Way campaign through payroll deduction, you have an option on your, and it'll be an online form this year. There is an option to designate your dollars. So if you are a supporter of one of these nonprofits and you want to make sure that your funding, your dollars are going directly to that, we can take care of that for you. Also, on that behalf, say you're a Convoy of Hope supporter. That's not one of our partners. But as long as they are a registered 501c3, you can designate your dollars to go wherever you choose. Like I said, your dollars, you get to choose where they go. So I think that's an important step that United Way changed a couple years ago, and I've heard really good feedback about that. Here's some impact numbers. Not going to go over these heavily, but the thing is, what's really important is for the first time in about 15 years, we've got now specific impact numbers. So when these nonprofits are actually applying for these grants, we're saying we want measurable impact numbers coming out of these grants. We want to know specifically who we're helping and in what ways. So these are some of the numbers that we are receiving that. This is from Council of the Churches.
Of 2 young kids. She was very, very self-sufficient individual who worked full-time, was a good mom, doing what she was supposed to do to be able to help her children, and had some setbacks that came in to the Council of Churches to get food through our food pantry. And through the process, we made the determination that she was probably eligible for a couple other programs that we had as well. And I was able to provide this lady with gas cards, which allowed her to get back and forth to work. One of the other things that happened to her was that she had her utilities shut off. And she's got 2 young kids in the house. We had a couple of days of 100-degree weather coming up, and we did not want her to have to go several days without utilities. We were able to get her utilities turned back on, and that was really, really impactful. She not only is working full-time, I had talked with her last week and she got a promotion. And is so happy because she's going to be able to provide even better for her children. Which is just so wonderful. The United Way personally means that I have been able to have this job. My position is funded through the United Way, and were it not for the United Way, I would not have that ability to reach out and touch people's lives and do the things that we are able to do.
I think that's so important because Rodney said it right there. His job is actually funded through the funding that we are providing, Council of the Churches. And so they had not had case management per se at council before they started this program. And now I can just like imagine the ripple effect that's happening. I mean, this is just one story that he shared of this mom and then her kids obviously being affected through that. But how many people is he helping in the community because of the funding that's being provided through United Way? So super impactful. Here's some more impact numbers. Community ownership, that's another thing we value a lot at United Way, is making sure that you guys understand what's going on in your community and also ways that you can get involved. I know you guys can't do Day of Caring, which I hate that you guys can't do that because that is one time of the year you get to go out and really learn about some of our nonprofits in town and things, but and do some sweat equity, which I know we all love the sweat equity part of the Day of Caring. But we also have some other opportunities that we could do. So United for Greatness, we actually just launched our 2nd year. We did a pilot program last year. And instead of sweat equity, we actually asked some of like people in this room, what kind of specific skills you guys have. Maybe it's marketing, communications, IT, accounting. And we partner with our nonprofits and we ask them, what's your gnarliest problem that you have that you just don't know how to fix? And we actually put them all in a room together and they work on projects for a 1-day consulting gig. And it was really great. That was just last week. We did our 2nd year of that. We did 10 nonprofits and they were just, they were blown away by the people's passion for their projects. And also they said they couldn't afford the amount of labor that was around the room for that type of skills. So I'm sure that will continue growing in the years to come. We're starting a women's group after the in 2024. We actually just had a meeting last night and approved our bylaws and our executive committee. So excited to get that out. And then we do have community field trip where we can bring up to 20 employees on a bus. You kind of do like a speed dating around some of our nonprofits in town. You get to really learn about what they're doing. And then we put you in a room in the afternoon after we feed you lunch. And we give you about $100,000 in Monopoly money. And we ask you, now you fund those programs. And very quickly, you can see how, what the problems are and the conversations that are coming out of that. And then by the end, hopefully you will want to get involved personally because you can make a difference. So Give 5 retiree program. And then we actually help launch the Volunteer Ozarks. Have you guys heard of 211? So like 911, you can call 211 from your phone no matter where you're at. Like it says, it has 180 languages that can be utilized. And if you are looking for a resource or you run into someone who maybe needs housing for the night or food, you can have them call 211 and they will get a 24/7 live operator with access to services. We actually have someone in our office that is constantly updating the services that are provided here locally. I think the big thing I'm going to leave you with, you guys, Greg Burris decided that he would add up. If you guys know Greg, he is a data guy. If he would add up every full-time employee in our Springfield metro area, and if they gave just $5 a month, right? I mean, a coffee doesn't even cost $5 a month anymore, or $5 a time. $5 a month, we would raise $22 million for our community in our nonprofits. I mean, that literally could wipe out some of the issues that we are currently facing. In the nonprofit world, sometimes we say we would love to get worked out of our jobs. This could wipe out some of our jobs. So it really doesn't take a whole lot to make a big difference in our community. So everybody can do a little bit to make that big difference. So does anybody have any questions for me? I have a prize I want to give away for anybody that was actually listening to what I said this morning. But does anybody have any questions for me? We're online. Yes, Cindy.
You mentioned the community field trip.
Yes.
How is that scheduled and how many times a year do you do that?
Yeah. So I think we're going to have 6 between now and the second quarter of 2024. So we would just need to get a hold of our office and you guys would kind of pick a date and then you would pick up to 20 people to ride on that bus. There's a little bit of a fee involved with that, but it's really kind of more of it's really probably the cheapest community development day around. And like I said, then you get to choose 4 nonprofits. So we want to kind of align them with the interests of the group and then provide lunch and get back in the afternoon and have some round table talk. Yeah, it's really great. Patio did it last year. And their HR director actually heard Greg talk at a Rotary event and she stood up and she said, Greg doesn't even know this, but after that community field trip, the employees that went on that decided on their own that they would continue working with the nonprofits that they had went and saw. And so they were very impressed with that opportunity to do that. And that's what it's all about. We want people engaged in our community. So any other questions? Okay. So I have a goodie bag. There's a t-shirt in here. Nice t-shirt, you guys. For the first person that raises their hand, that tells me how many programs we fund at United Way. Yeah. Yes, good job. Usually people say 14 because I don't know. Yeah, here we go. Okay, well, thank you guys for having me in and letting me get out your meeting.
Thank you, Janelle. I appreciate you coming in. And you'll hear more information from Commissioner Dixon about our kickoff and what he has planned. You know, Bob, there may be singing and dancing involved, so be prepared. There's going to be competition. Janelle, do you have cards with you? So if anybody would like a representative from United Way to come to your department and kind of give a presentation to your employees, especially those that are larger departments, she'll leave a few cards here, and then you could have her or one of the other representatives from United Way come and speak to the employees. So excited to kick this off in October, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you all.